Back, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite a challenge to speak to audience after a nice, healthy food for and suddenly starting to give food to your soul becomes a really good challenge. Today, normally I keep speaking across on topics of cybercrime and cyber law, and to answer this very serious question, whatever you are seeing is it this? That was the obvious question. First of all, I should tell you that I am talking on, which is also the market day for Mumbai, but also today. So I'm speaking something about law and cyber on a law day. Okay, so I have to base my presentation because I've got just half an hour to talk. I have got yesterday down. So I got some weird idea about cybersecurity and how would that get implemented in the law infrastructure. I happened to jot it down, and I want to take it from there. Take it from my screen. Now, if such questions come, let's not NSD to become a Project Paranoia. Okay, now NSD supported, and what could be a various which it could be supported is I just jotted down as it came to my mind. Now, I suppose that there should be some cyber along with cadets in NDA should be groomed and placed into section. We already have Army cadets, Navy cadets, cadets. Why don't we have cyber cadets? So we start our education right from the NDA National Defense Academy. Now, second point I have to stress on this hacker word creates a lot of legal eagles. This hacker, when you use this hacker word, the moment this hacker word is used, it's quite illegal, the word per se. So is this hacker word right to? As far if you ask me, hacker word is not defined in Indian jurisprudence. But yes, we could use words like cybers or pen testers. Pen testers becomes very so, but cyber soldiers, yes, could be a word to reckon. And these words should find a place in national security policy, which our Honorable Minister was talking about. That gets a place, nothing like it. We are encouraging hackers, or rather we like China who have state-sponsored hackers, and they started almost 6 years before, and they started with 800, have grown to X number. So it's high time that India does this. We do have hackers across the country who do a public job, but not in organized sector. Now, suppose government tries to them in the full stream with the help of NSD, obviously, then what all should be given to hackers? Like suppose hackers should have a different identity and a passport on the same name as a different identity. Now, if you don't have a different identity, these hackers would be prone to exploitation. Corporates could exploit them. I already have cases where corporates have a team of ethicals, and they use this team of ethical hackers for corporate espionage. These hackers could be easily used for this kind of job, so they could be affected by all this. These are just wild thoughts. Don't take it as the final word, please. Hackers can be covered under Witness Protection Bill. Okay, this Witness Protection Bill is to be tabled in this session, and it could be, because they actually what lies in the executing cyber law cases in the country is the weak chain of which we face, and there is nobody, no expert to testify this. So possibly the service of these hackers could be taken, or the service of the cyber could be taken to testify the evidence in a court of law. So when that is done, they need to be protected, okay, or they could be, targeted. Hacker training wings of international caliber in different certs, like we have Army Cert, Navy Cert. So this could be established, and country training could be given to them. That could be a real effort. then I'm talking about the best establish a cyber command of India, because long time that we keep talking that we may face a cyber war. Always feel that we are already in a state of cyber war with our neighboring countries, our kind neighboring countries. Okay, already in a state of cyber war. Why don't we establish a full cyber command with all ranks of officials there, and which really guard our country and country boundaries well? Second suggestion what I've got on here is DRDO, that is Defense Organization of the premier research organization. Why have a different department which only develops weapons? Speaker before me was talking about Stunext and Dukiv. Now Stunext was cyber weapon what our world has seen, and Dukiv is possibly the cyber weapon of its kind what other people have been seeing it, right? That's 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. This will keep coming on our country and to our country installation. So why don't we have a department which focuses completely on developing cyber? Why not we come out and talk about the cyber, what we possess, what other country possess, and why don't we march? Now, the second most important point, what I want to present is, see, we keep a lot of antivirus softwares. We keep relying, something happens, we go and buy some spywares from the market. Certified this antivirus software? Who has certified this spyware in the country? Corporates, big organizations, they go buy this vendor-related softwares and using it. Many a times we have softwares and spywares which are coming from a country which are completely. Okay, we have certain softwares which come down from Russia. Now, Russia is known to harbor a lot of cyber mafia there. We do a lot of interactive business. India, I'll come back to it later in my presentation. So we need to have actually certifies, takes a stand on certain antivirus or certain anti-spyware products for Indian usage. In fact, further and say we have what is called as call for our own country to protect our own ISPs. That could be called a Bharat Firewall or Bharatiya Seema Rakshak or whatever, or Seema Rakshak. Either a policy or a firewall which will protect all our cyber infrastructure. China has done it. America had lobbied greatly to remove those restrictions on firewall. They were not successful. We also can stand on at least protect our, because India is standing on the industrial or this financial revolution on the leg, IT revolution which happened in the country. So why don't we protect the revolution with complete blood and steam? Second thing is, why don't we have what's called as immediate interim? When we see lot of websites allowing lots of malware to be downloaded easily, lot of cracks are available easily, pornographic sites are available easily, lot of cyber weapons are easily, you can download it easily, then why don't we take actions? I'm not saying permanent action, possibly that could be contested in law, to be taken by the government to ban sites. They're acting as zombies. Now, let me take into this. There is a specific provision of cyber in our section which says if somebody is in some kind of activity which creates some kind of enmity between our adjacent countries or our friends, he also can be protected under the section called cyber terrorism. Now take this example, like suppose you have a corporate site and somebody puts a malware on the site. This malware actually attacks other countries. Okay, take this example. So what happens is corporate website would be possibly as a party who is engaging in some actions which is trying to attack or trying to disturb your adjacent country's cyber infrastructure. There was disturbing reports like China was quote 8% of attacks on cyber infrastructure of China originated from Indian websites. But these websites could be educational websites. There are certain vulnerable websites available. And corporates can face huge dilemma. Cyber attracts life imprisonment. So it's also a non-bailable offense. So CIOs and CISOs should be geared up for such kind of legal actions against them. So sites which spread cyber weapons, which acts as leechers in cyber domains. Leechers are those sites which leech out a lot of data, extract data out of various sites and give back to different countries. So we shouldn't trust those countries which we have relations with also. I'm going to the government can start allocating money in their annual budget towards research in the field of cyber security, cyber weapons and cyber law, which is high timely not done. A random budget gets allocated later into some later schemes. So it could be very well thought of in defense whole budget has been thought. A cyber security research under CSIR, this is just an pronouns to say this should happen, would be a welcome move. CSIR spends crores of rupees, crores of taxpayers in doing fruitful research. This also be a topic of research. A whole lab could be devoted only researching on cyber security and weapon. Now, what happens when things are going? I'll discuss in my further presentation. Now, traditionally we have this trust factor towards Russia. Russia being our great neighbor and friend, and we have complete non-trust towards Chinese and Pakistanis. Established trust between Chinese and Pakistanis, but yes, why don't we Russians, Russian internet mafia, if I look at incidences, past incidences, people are minting money in buying random IP addresses and random IP servers in Russia, and the Russians are easily allowing it. I have who offer, I have clients who offer Yugoslavian or Czechoslovakian passports, where you can get this passport, travel in this those range, including Russia, and do your conduct there. So you get a safe harbor to protect yourself against Indian sleuths. So they should be closely observed. You know, this Russian flexible IP address closely observed. Russia has a good strategic and diplomatic relations with India. Now this should be expanded to cyber strategic relations also, because cyber as a strategic relation is never thought of. We just signed something with US, but then it should go more deeper. So should be expanded to cyber strategic relations, thus curtailing in any kind of metaphor in bilateral relations. You know, why to have this metaphor that we have good relations with them strategic field, and why not having it on the cyber strategic field? Now, Chinese incursions on cyber territory. Now, Chinese are already doing incursions on our physical territory in different domains, on different states. But why don't we look at the cyber territory also? This should be discussed in flag meetings, I would say. If flag meetings are going on and such kind of incursions happen, so the cyber boundary is also the boundary of our country now. So why don't we discuss this in flag meetings, secretary level meetings, ministerial level meetings? This could be one topic to be discussed. And this should be strongly condemned even in ASEAN, SAARC or UN meets. Now when this, if this is elevated, then only some exact specific results would be expected out of these Chinese incursions, which have no work but to bring Indian IT supremacy. Because I handle a lot of cyber espionage corporate cases where they are engaged in committing cyber espionage on corporates and stealing important commercial secrets from Indian organizations and pitting their organizations against Indian organizations with lesser amount of quotations in the international market. So electronic evidences should be collected and preserved to support such move, because they'll negate us in this. Now, what you have is Indians, now this is another wild thought, Indian cyber acts such made should also have bases abroad. Now why this idea is, so you can place your cyber soldiers in strategic countries. Now why do we place these cyber soldiers in strategic countries? Because in the event of internet outage, now people talk about XY zero-day vulnerability in the corporate world, but are we awakened towards this very imminent event, which is called internet outage or internet connection espionage on our country? Now suppose there is an internet connection espionage on our country, then whole of internet will be bungled up, whole of services coming to India, because we are largely relying on certain carriers which come to India. So, or somebody does a pan-Asia blockage on blackout on our country, then what happens to such kind of scenario? Then we need to have strategically placed people who will still defend our boundaries, sitting in some internet zones when internet is available. Now, this is a matter of discussion. This can go on. Now, why don't we have a dedicated satellite to be hosted to protect our cyber boundaries? Now, this is a specific satellite which will go on and host our cyber boundary and constant day-to-day affair. And what would do this further is, it will manage our internet outage zero-day vulnerability also. If this zero-day vulnerability is there, we'll have a lot of backup connection, and such kind of sites could be owned by the country, and such kind of delivery can happen at the worst period also. Even if there is a hard-scale satellite war which has been anticipated, satellites getting destroyed in the space, this time we can have such satellite which is not noted, which is a secret satellite, which even China gets engaged into such kind of warfare, and such kind of satellite-related things also could be discussed further. Now, further is not only cyber boundaries in cyberspace, but cyber infrastructure, including fiber optics. Nowadays, if you see along roadside, across the countryside also, we have this orange-colored cable which is running across the country, which is supposed to be the internet backbone of our country. But if you look at it, it is sometimes at very pathetic condition. It is laid open in the jungle, on the trees. That could be easily cut. There was a recent incident in US where supposed to be ninjas, which just a county behind Washington, they went underground, and using huge cutters, they could cut the cables which were there in the underground, and the whole of county went powerless, and they went telecomless, communicationless. If such kind of incident happened, then there's also a proxy war which has been fought without actually getting into internet nitty-gritties, but attacking on cyber infrastructure. Okay, and our cyber infrastructure, the telecom infrastructure which supports cyber infrastructure, needs to be protected more. Now, telecommunication networks and internet carriers of certain departments, I have a strong view on this. All our important crisis management teams, important organizations like Power Grid Corporation, water supply departments, various dams, airports, PMO office, I don't know about PMO office, but other ministries often use telecommunication network, which is commonly used by other people also. So if common people gets affected, chances are that such organizations would also get directly affected. So when a cyber war is thought, even this Power Grid Corporation like company organization which manages power across various states can easily get affected. Okay, so this quarantining policy of having quarantining such kind of like police, police networks, completely quarantined, having internet from a complete different source. I think already defense, military and all are doing this. But this also departments could be quarantined for a larger policy development. So now what is the stand of all this cyber security related feature on what the IT law says or the cyber law says? I think everybody knows we don't have any law called cyber law. We have this all-in-one act called Information Technology Act 2000, amended by Information Technology Act 2008. That is our cyber law, that is our data privacy law, but it guards us very well. I often find critics saying that Indian cyber law is weak. But if you look at all the offenses what the law states are cognizable offenses, major offenses. Cognizable offenses means such kind of crimes are committed by white-collared people. And if white-collared people are taken by police for at least for 24 hours, that acts as a deterrent. So to that level, yes, we are doing our bit. We can't keep all the sections as non-billable. That would not be good for judiciary and good legal practice. So we have this deterrent law in place. Now what is the security given to hackers then? Now, in last same conference, I was supporting all my hacker friends, saying that hacker is a word which is not defined in Indian IT Act. Point number one. Hacking is also not defined under Indian IT Act. Now, people who have read Indian IT Act, old Indian IT Act, hacking is defined there. But it has suddenly vanished from, the hacking word is vanished from Indian IT Act amended by 2008. So there is no word called hacking or hacker defined there. But yes, if you look at the slurry of all the sections, it starts with anybody who gets access without the permission of the owner and commits other crimes, you know. So it starts with, first point is hacking. So now the whole large sections, large crimes, first start with hacking. That's what legislation has to mean. Okay, but hacking is not really defined. You know. Yet courts have to come out with the larger and broader definition for hacking. Second, there were questions of what do you mean by ethical hacker? Does law permit it? Now, see, these are two contrasting words. First is ethic, and then is hacking. So it is as good as saying, if some judges I found, they draw a parallel between hacker and a housebreaker, you know. So in this Maharashtra, it's called Gharfodi. So how can you draw a parallel equivalence saying he is an ethical housebreaker? Okay, so that really can't happen. But yes, there are always gray areas where you can jump upon and take the help of this word called ethical hackers or penetration testers. But ultimately, see, if you do kind of hacking and if you try to relate, quote, that what was your intention, what was your mens rea, and courts may have a lenient view towards it. Okay, so hackers who are in the domain always try to find loopholes and try to bunch upon it. But obviously, the law has its own course, and there have been complicated cases handled by complicated mediums, and decisions are come to it. So you should be aware of the law is there. Law is stricter if you do, I told you the eventuality like cyber terrorism or pornography as such. So law is stricter there, but law is less stricter when we talk about some other crimes. So when we look at Indian cyber security as such, the members who come in with our this effort called National Security Database, that's why if you look at this National Security Database entrance, it is, the people are tested from different angles. The psyche of the person is checked. Now there are good hackers and bad hackers. Again, I can't say this, no, good Garfodi and good housebreakers and bad hackers. It depends upon the attitude of the person. Now hackers don't hack into computers with an intention of stealing the data. That's very important, you know. But a person when he hacks, it's like you like a nice door and somebody keeps telling you that there are golden bricks inside. So you want to break the door and see the golden bricks. So you break the door. Till that intention was good, to see the golden bricks. But the moment you see those golden bricks, you want to take one brick away with you. So what has happened is the intention has suddenly changed. So mens rea, the guilty mind has curved in. Okay. So normally what happens is ultimately the aim of hackers become, the guilt comes in, and when the guilt comes in, you are bound to be called as cyber criminal. So how far you can keep your guilt, how far you balance your activities with whatever job you do is what can keep you apart. And that's what exactly NSD is trying to do, to curtail this, to channelize this good energies of hackers, you know, because hackers would definitely come with both kind of energies. So to channelize this good energies towards utilizing for the betterment of national cyber security. I stop here and thank you for listening to me patiently. I can take questions. Yeah. Can you identify yourself? And I didn't say. I didn't say.
Some jobs which criminal is supposed to be doing, like they also have sharpshooters, they also kill the bad people. So I think instead of, we can call them cyber police, and they can be this ethical hackers can be some kind of sharpshooters who come under the cyber police, and they can do jobs which are not supposed to be done, but under a guise of government agency, they at times can do. So parallel can be drawn.
Yeah.
Parallel should not be a housebreaker. I think the parallel can be somewhere else.
You didn't attend my first session, I think, when I started. I started with, I have an objection to the word called hackers. Instead of that, people should use them cyber soldiers. That was my...
soldier would be too patriotic, I mean, a soldier.
Yeah, because, see, ultimately, if you're guarding national boundaries, then some kind of words, some parallel words. You are also right at your front, this can be words. And then later I went in a critic mode saying that what does law interpret? This is not my interpretation. Okay, this is a law interpretation, what happens in a court of law. Okay, I am not against it or I am not for it, but this is what the ground reality is. Okay, so I am also with him, like we call him with some different name, because a hacker name creates a lot of confusion and a lot of law related problems suddenly comes in. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, somebody here. Yeah, any more questions? Thank you.